The opinions expressed on the X and Y Show are the sole opinions of the host. Please note, there is no intentional desire to offend any member of the listening audience. With that said, if you still feel offended, tough shit.
It's time for the X and Y Show with your host, Mr. Roosevelt. He talks about man topics, lady topics, and relationships. He talks about love, sex, and infidelities. He even gives good tips. There is no other show that compares to the X and Y Show.
Oh yeah. Sit back, take your clothes off, and relax. It's time for the X and Y Show, where real relationship issues are talked about and addressed. The only place on the planet that tackles the topics that everyone wants to talk about, but no one is brave enough to address. Nothing escapes X and Y, baby. Now, here's your host, Roosevelt Colbert.
And greetings. Welcome to another segment of the XY Show. I'm your host, Roosevelt. So today is going to be one of those rapping episodes. I want to rap to you. And I've talked about this before, but I just want to keep reiterating this because sometimes, you forget. And, when I don't talk about it over 50 episodes or whatever, it's kind of old news. So I kind of want to really keep this refreshed. And also being things happen in real life that makes you or makes me remember and want to talk about it again. So this is one of those rap sessions. And I guess the topic would be, it's never too late to make things right with family members. Never too late to make things right with family members. And I say make things right because, a lot of times it's not that you have a disagreement or you dislike a family member. It's just, life happens. Shit happens, and family members that you used to be close to, you haven't talked to in years, just because there's no reason. And there's the other reason where you actually do have problems with family members. You have dislikes of, first cousins, second cousins, parents, mothers, fathers, for shit that they've done to you in the past. And, so there's that. So that's why I made the episode, it's never too late to make it right. Because sometimes it's not that you have a disagreement or you don't, you dislike them. It's just life. Life happens. You're not as close as you used to be. And then when they pass on, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that. I wish we could have, would have, should have. It's too late. So, for those of you listening to this, I hope that somebody, if I get one person to say, you know what, damn, Roosevelt's right. I need to do something. Then my mission is accomplished. Just one person. Because there's nothing like something that happens to someone and you wishing it would have been different, when it's too late. Now, I guess a lot of you saying, what happened to Roosevelt? Well, I have a first cousin. His name is Marshall. I'm not his last name. His name is Marshall. So we were little, we were real tight. Used to spend a night over his house. a lot because we were both kind of around the same age, and his siblings were, well, he had one younger sister, but she was a little younger than us. But his siblings above him were older, like mine. So, we kind of related a lot. So I used to spend the night over his house. He used to spend the night over mine. We were real tight, especially in the summertime. We used to do a lot of things together. Go to the pool, go to the movies. We were real tight. He went in the Navy. I went in the Navy a year later. So that kind of thing. So, and, over time, he got married. And, I've been moving all over the place. So life happened. It wasn't that we just had a disagreement or anything. We just grew apart. We just, it just, it wasn't in our cards to be close. He was married. I was single. I'm still single, but, we just grew apart. It wasn't a disagreement or anything. We still loved each other. We still, every time we saw each other, gave each other a dap and that kind of thing. But we weren't tight as we used to be. And that's just something that happens, right, over time. So long story short, he's diabetic. And he had to have an operation. They had to remove his gallbladder. His gallbladder had gotten really big. And they removed it. Then the operation went okay. He made it. But, days later, he declined. His health declined. By him being diabetic, he was not healing properly internally. So he started hemorrhaging inside. They know the bleeding is coming from, but he's too weak to go in and rectify it. So, his condition continued to worsen. Now he's on a ventilator. And his kidneys is starting to shut down. This is the last time. When I first heard he was in the hospital, I thought it was okay. He's recovering, and I'll call him later, and say, "What's up? How you feeling?" That kind of thing. I didn't know that his health was declining, like it was, and one of the reasons why I didn't know because, we're not as close. So I should have called earlier. Right when he got out of surgery. Because he's in Houston. So I just, hey, what's up, cuz? How you feeling? But I call him later. I call him later. That's what we always do. Put shit off. I call him later. I call her later. She'll be around. So my sister called me yesterday, and I knew there was something funny. The way she called. So I knew it wasn't something with my mom because I had just talked to her. So I was like, what's up? And she told me, she laid that on me. Your cousin, he's not doing too well. He's on a ventilator. And for you to be on a ventilator, that is like, that's like the last stop before you check out. Unless something miraculous happened. And being that his kidneys is shut down, the doctors are not optimistic of him making it. They give him blood and he goes through it really fast. So he's internally bleeding and they can't fix it. So long story short, I'm probably going to lose my first cousin. Something that I never saw coming. something that I never thought. I mean, we're still pretty young. He's only a year older than me, but we're still pretty young. So this is something that's happening way before I thought it would. And I know there's no date on death. But, we get spoiled to feel that only old people pass away. And I just thought that, we always had time. That's a mistake that we always have. We always have time. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next week. I'll call her tomorrow, see how she's doing. Oh, I'll call her next month. I'll call him next month. We're always procrastinating, putting shit off. Oh, I'll make up with him later. We'll mend our ways later. We'll get together later. And later may never come. Like I said earlier, when my cousin got out of surgery, I should have called him immediately. Hey, cuz, how you feeling? What's going on? That was my opportunity to catch up. But I didn't take advantage of it. I said, I'll call him later. Later. And now there's probably won't be a later. At least on this side. Won't be a later anymore. So, that's something I always have to live with. And a lot of you that are listening to this right now have disagreements with some family members. Some shit that happened 10, 20, 30, even 40 years ago, which half of you don't even remember why you're mad at each other. And if you do, it's probably bullshit. The older I get, the more I realize, because when I was younger, I didn't give a, I'm not saying that I didn't care about family. That's not true. But it's like family reunions, that kind of thing. I didn't give a damn if I went to a family reunion. I'll see them later. I'll see my uncles, cousins. I'll see them later. No big deal. Don't have to go to a family reunion. Always later. So, the older I get, the more that I realize that family is important. And seeing them, especially the older you get, seeing them as much as possible is a good thing. And I'm not saying that you have to be ultimately close. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that you have to be bosom buddies. Sometimes it just don't work that way, right? You're different people. Just because you're related don't mean you have to be damn hooked to the hip. But what's wrong with calling your cousin, say, hey, how you doing? Just want to holler at you. How you feeling? Okay, that's good. Could be like a 3 to 5 minute conversation. And sometimes that feels like an obligation, but it should be like a good feeling, because a lot of times you don't know what people are going through. You don't know what's going on in their lives, and they get a call from someone they haven't heard from in 5, 10, 20 years. Someone who they haven't gotten along with traditionally. You guys always have disagreements, and they hear from you. You don't realize the power in a phone call or a visit if you're able. But just a phone call or a video chat. It's no excuse now. It's no excuse nowadays. The power in that little communication with someone could bring them up so much from depression, from feeling down, feeling low, and feeling so alone. That one phone call could help a person get through that. So all the petty bullshit that you go through with family, your cousins, your aunts, your uncles, your parents, all is ultimately bullshit. Now, some of you have went through some things. You know, you were abused by your parents physically, you know, and sometimes worse. So I'm not saying that you should, you know, you should always forgive, but I'm not saying that you have to have a relationship with them. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is the other family members in your family, you can have a relationship with them. You can have a relationship with your cousins like you used to do when you were kids, or your brothers, your sisters. Some of you, your siblings, you haven't spoken in 10, 20 years. Some of you are not speaking right now. And you say, why are you not speaking? Oh, I don't know. Oh, well, he did this. Or she did that. How long was that? Well, it was 1979, but. So all I'm saying, people, X and Yers, and you know, after you hear this episode, you can say, fuck you, Roosevelt. You don't know what you're talking about. But I do. Because I'm guilty of this. I never come at you with an attitude like I'm high and mighty. I do the same shit. I got family members on my father's side that I haven't spoken to since I was at Tuskegee. And that was a long time ago. And, you know, when you ask me, how come you haven't spoken to him? I don't know. You know, there's been a little disagreement here and there, or, you know, you find out they said some bullshit, allegedly, you know, all kind of bullshit. And then you guys don't speak to 20, 30 years. And all that time that's lost, you can't get back. You can't get back. Like me and my cousin, we were close when we were, little boys, and we grew up teenagers. And, you know, he went in the Navy, I went in the Navy, and then, you know, and after kind of we came back from the Navy, it was they dissipated from there. Why? I don't know. But, you know, what I do know, you know, I didn't do my part to keep up the relationship. I didn't continue to call him, you know, and a lot of you do that. Well, she not calling me. Fuck her. He not calling me. Fuck him. I ain't calling her. Somebody has to be the bigger person. Somebody has to take the high road when it comes to that. Because there's too much at stake. It's too much at stake. You know, once that family member, you know, gets down and maybe leave this place, you can't go back in time. You can't change anything. And you can go to the funeral and say all of the most beautiful eulogies and give them the most flowers and cry the loudest and all that shit. But it means nothing because they can't hear you anymore. They can't hug you anymore. You can't hear their voice anymore. You can't see their smile anymore. So all that don't mean shit. So celebrate your family while you have them, while you're able. Maybe you're mad at your mom. She wasn't the best mom. She did the best she can. Have a relationship with her instead of waiting till she passed. Oh, my mom. Oh, mom. Oh, mom. It's too late. If you had a father, he was a rolling stone. He wasn't there for you. Okay, he fucked up. He wasn't the best father in the world. But have a relationship with him. I'm not saying that you have to be, you know, like the best father and daughter or father and son in the world, but just have a relationship with him. Just get to know him. So when they pass on, you can say, well, you know, he wasn't the best father, but we really got closer over the years. It was better. And I'm glad that we did that before he passed. Instead of living in regret, I wish I would have. I wish I could have. I should have. It won't be any of that. Have a relationship with your family. You know, it's never too late until it is too late. When they're gone, they're gone. Nothing you can do. You can have all the memories that you can. You can watch all the videos. You can see all the pictures. But it's too late. You'll never see them again. You'll never be able to talk to them. You'll never be able to hug them again. It's too late. They're gone. So don't let that happen to you. You have time now. If you're having any family members, just give them a call. They're probably want to call you, but don't know how you're going to accept them calling you. A lot of times they call, I wish I can call her, but I don't know. She might cuss me out. Wish I can call him, but he might hang up on me. They probably want to call you. Someone has to be the bigger person. And I guarantee you, a lot of you that call, what they'll probably say is, I'm so glad you called. You know, so glad you called, cuz. So glad you called, son. You know. So, you know, this has happened to me. I'm trying to prevent it from happening to you. You never know what's going to happen. So, you know, you just want to at least say you tried. If you tried getting a relationship or having a better relationship with family and they don't want it, that's not on you. That's not on you. You tried. You gave an effort. But for you not to try, that's what a problem is. And so many of us are not trying. So many of us are lazy. So many of us procrastinators, just putting it off. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next month. I'll do it later. Next thing you know, 10, 15 years pass. Next thing you know, they're sick. Next thing you know, they're on a ventilator. So, for those of you listening to this, if you have a family member or family members where you're not seeing eye to eye or you haven't spoken in a long time, this is the time that you have. Make it right. It's never too late until it's too late. Make it right with your family. Don't regret not doing something while you had the chance. Or you won't be in a predicament where I wish I would have. I wish I could have. Never too late to make things right with your family. Because in the end, that's really all that we have. Family. That's all I have today. I hope some of you really heard me and do something about it while you can. Be sure to check out the XY Show on prior episodes that you missed. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, and Facebook as well. You can see all of that on my website, which is www.xyshow.com. Also, there's a XY store where you can buy a shirt or a coffee mug or anything that I have in there. I think I have a tie in there too. I'm not sure. But just show one that you're X and Y. Take a picture and I will definitely post it on my IG account. So, without further ado, that remember you cannot have love or lust without X and Y. Make it right with your family while you still can. Later.
You've been listening to The X and Y Show with your host, Roosevelt Colbert, the place where real relationship issues are talked about and addressed. Join us next time. You can now put your clothes back on. Or not.